So with the ending part of this episode of Knights of Sidonia, we find out one interesting thing. Very interesting. We find out that there's a connection between a Kabizashi and a Gauna. I mean, we already knew there was some form of connection, but with the ending part of this episode, we can clearly see that the Hoshijiro Gauna can sense the Kabizashi through walls, thick layers of stone, rock, steel, and stuff, and it can actually sense the Kabizashi. So right here, we can clearly see there is a major link between the Gauna and these lances. So exactly what is the link? Are they made from the same type of material, the same type of flesh that the Gauna is made out of? There's a lot of questions right here, but with the ending part of this episode, we find out that there is a major link. Now, besides that, we also find out some major things this episode. Hoshijiro, for one thing. As we can clearly see from this episode, this Gauna Hoshijiro is intelligent. Very intelligent, not just because it could sense the Kabizashi through walls at the end, but because it was actually making intelligent forms of conversation with Nagate this episode. We same time doing Tanikaze, slow form of Japanese language, but at the same time, you could tell it has some form of intelligence. So right here, we find out that Gauna are not stupid. They're not just hunks of flesh and meat. They're actually something about them that are intelligent, and it might explain exactly where they come from. The more and more I see this series progress, I'm starting to think that most likely Gauna is a science experiment gone wrong in the past, and it caused a human to turn into that. That's why I'm starting to think that the Gauna really is. But besides that, let's talk about this episode, what it showed, okay? So we see Hoshijiro Gauna, pretty much, she's trying to make some form of conversation. She's doing like, you really can't get any sounds from that. You can't understand it. But I have a feeling that whatever that Gauna was saying to Tanikaze this episode, most likely has a deep meaning, something very deep, because you can clearly see the scientist girl that was, studying the placenta, that most likely she was trying to say something, because she's like, what is this? And you see the actual audio waves and stuff. So most likely, whatever that Hoshijiro Gauna said was important, but we just couldn't make it out. So I'm willing to bet that'll play a major role later on in the future. And also something else is, it seems at first that the Hoshijiro Gauna was trying to attack Tanikaze right at the beginning when she got to see him, she attacked with the tentacles. But, I mean, do you think that, I'm guessing that Gauna was really trying to kill Tanikaze? I mean, it seems to know Tanikaze, but, I mean, it wasn't trying to kill Tanikaze. I mean, we really don't know exactly. We don't know if truly it was violent intentions, but I mean, we have no clue what the Gauna really is yet, so I can't really make assumptions saying that that most likely is intelligence. It might be having some form of replica of, I guess, Hoshijiro's memories. As it was stated in this episode, that most likely this Gauna is most likely able to replicate Hoshijiro's memories and different things that's happened in her life, and that also would explain why it has Hoshijiro's, form. So, I like the way this series is slowly building up the mystery behind the Gauna. There's a lot of mysteries here, but it's very interesting when you get to see the Gauna actually stand on 2 feet and point, and Nagate. Now, here's the interesting thing if you didn't understand about the ending part of this episode, along with that segment right there. As we can clearly see, the science girl discovers, okay, that this Hoshijiro Gauna is constantly looking at the Kabizashi, always staring at the Kabizashi through the walls. But in that scene, when she points at Nagate, she's not staring at the Kabizashi, she's actually staring at Nagate. So, there's something else going on here. Something major is going on here. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I have a bad feeling that most likely Nagate is eventually going to say, you need to release her and all that. That's Hoshijiro. He's eventually probably going to break her out of that glass wall structure of the prison she's currently in, and most likely that Gauna is going to escape. That's what I see happening right now. The way this is being developed into, it seems like most likely Tanikaze is going to have some form of human emotions towards Hoshijiro Gauna, and Hoshijiro Gauna is going to escape. And as we can clearly see at the ending part of this episode too, we see, other Hoshijiro, her frame is outside staring at Sidonia, and Sidonia hasn't detected her, if I'm correct. Sidonia hasn't detected this other Hoshijiro outside staring at the Kabizashi. I think there's a link between these two Gaunas, since they technically did come from the same placenta. Most likely they have some form of memory link. Either way, I liked this episode. It was a good episode, and that was just one part of this episode. Another thing, we get to see, Kunito's psychological breakdown. We can clearly see his character is breaking down each episode. I mean, he's getting further and further breaking down. I mean, now he's starting to hear Hoshijiro's laughs in his mind, every freaking dream he has, and it's freaking, he deserved it. He deserved it. His character downright deserved it. I hate his character so much. He was a character written to hate, and he definitely deserves the torture and pain he's getting in his dreams because of killing off innocent squad members, because this should never have happened to begin with a couple episodes back. Now, overall, the CGI of this episode, I guess the CGI, it was good in some points, and some points of this episode it did feel rather stiff. Some points did, especially the embarrassing face of Izana, because, I mean, her face when she puffed up her cheeks, all that, felt like, you know, it was rather stiff right there. But besides that, I understand CGI cannot replicate other animation really well, so I can look past those entire scenes because I've enjoyed Sidonia. Music, as always, Sidonia knows how to ramp up the right amount of music in certain different scenes that definitely just draw you in. And I love this series because it just makes you think. It's so much different from the other anime of this anime season, and that's something I like. And so, interested to see what'll happen next. I really am, because, I mean, we find out also some immigrants, you know, over freaking 100,000 people leave Sidonia to land on this other planet, and they say, oh, they're not going to attack us because we don't have any Kabizashi with us, so most likely we'll be safe. Which actually brings up an interesting point. It goes in with the ending part of this episode, as we can clearly see the Gauna sense Kabizashi. But, I mean, the question is, will Gauna actually look at regular humans that are, you know, just trying to be peaceful as non-a-threat, like they won't attack them? We really don't know yet, because we haven't seen enough of the Gauna to really understand their, I guess, thought process. So tell me your thoughts on this episode, everybody. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.